Welcome back, writers. Yesterday we talked about writing intentions. We talked about how could we get the meaning of our story across, or how could we leave our reader with a specific feeling. Today I want to teach you a strategy that I know every second grade student could do. And that strategy is called using repetition. What's repetition? It simply means to repeat a line or a phrase or even a word. When you repeat a phrase or a word, you're telling your reader what's important. You're highlighting the meaning. Our master author did that in Owl Moon. I went back to look for repetition in her story, and boy, did I find it. She wrote the phrase, when you go owling, over and over again when our main character, her daughter, went owling with her dad. As you recall, the main character was so excited to finally go owling. It was something she had been waiting for a long time, and something her big brothers had been telling her all about. It didn't take her long to decide she was an expert. Listen to Jane Yolen's words. I found it here. When you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. When you go owling, you have to be quiet and you have to make your own heat. When you go owling, you have to be brave. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. So, by repeating that phrase, when you go owling, we know that her big idea was she was excited to be with her dad on this special adventure. I shared this book yesterday too, and the title is the phrase that was repeated over and over again in this book, The Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. If you've heard this book, you know that when Alexander woke up, he had gum in his hair. And he said, it's going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Then he got stuck sitting in the middle of the back seat when it was carpool time. What's it going to be? A terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. When they went to the dentist, he was the only one who had a cavity. It was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. So, this author, Judith Forst, showed us her meaning in the story that some days aren't the best. So that made me think about my story. What could I repeat? What word could I say over and over to get my meaning across? So I had to do some thinking. Well, I was excited to be at the football game. And I was overwhelmed because I hadn't been to a live event for over a year. I was a little shocked at how many people were there. And certainly, that when I was trying to keep up with my husband and I jumped over the puddle, yeah, that didn't work so well and I landed in the puddle. So I decided the phrase that I would use over and over again is, wait for me, Craig. Because it felt like the whole evening, the whole football game, I was running to try to catch up with him, that he was always 5 or 6 or 10 steps ahead of me. Today, I would like you to think about revising. That word is right behind me. It says revise, and that word means to change. I would like you to think about revising your story and inserting a phrase or a word or a sentence and repeating it. That way, you can highlight your meaning and get your big idea or that feeling you want your reader to feel across by giving them a big hint about what's important in your story. I think this is work you can do, and I would love to use some of your writing tomorrow or the next day if your teacher sees you repeating a line. Let's give this strategy a try.